The Uprising here on location in St. Croix. With us we have Ronnie Benjamin. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's really great to have you here in St. Croix, and wanted to ask you to reflect a little bit about the Winter Reggae in Paradise and your very first performance in St. Croix in some 16 years.
Well, Winter Reggae, it was a very good show. I had fun doing what I did, and I enjoyed a lot of the other artists too.
True. And this was your first time performing here?
First time performing here in 16 years.
Yes, and I know you did a little thing a couple of years ago back with your sons, but what was it like to be out on a big stage and have a big crowd out there and to perform with Vaughn and Ron?
Well, it was fun. I planned to have fun, and I did have fun. I enjoyed it, and it was wonderful.
You're so kind and beautiful, baby. And I love you to the end of time. Your pretty smile brightens up my way. I love you more each and every day.
Yes, and actually I'm really surprised, having never been to St. Croix the first time. From the time I touched land, everyone has been talking. The buzz about Winter Reggae in Paradise wasn't for Midnite or all the other reggae acts, but was really for Ronnie Benjamin. It was really great to see that.
Yeah, it was. It made me feel good. You know what it does when you're appreciated, when you're being appreciated, it does feel good.
Yes, and just from traveling around an island a little bit with you, I could see that you're very well loved and very well respected here in St. Croix.
Well, I've been here for a long time. I lived here for about 25 years, and I did quite a lot of things. I played almost every place on the island, almost any venue you can think of, I've been there. And I would say 90% of the older musicians have played with me. And some of their sons now are now playing with my sons.
True. So the circle continues.
It is a circle.
Yes, and you're actually born in Antigua, and you live there now, but in between you spent some 25 years or so here.
25 years here. And so this is my second home.
True. And what is it that brought you to St. Croix originally in the 60s?
It was basically opportunities that I probably didn't have in Antigua, and I came here and I loved it. I stayed.
Yes, well, I can certainly see why you would love it out here. And tell us a little bit about your musical history. You started playing music in Antigua, yes?
Yeah, I did start in Antigua. Well, as usual, you hear a lot of artists started in the choir. That's where I started, in church.
Yes.
I had to go to church every Sunday, and I sang in the choir as a youth choir, and then I went to the senior choir when I was about 15. And my first performance, which I should have done on stage as a singer, I was so scared that when they announced me, I took off. I never did that. I never did that performance. And then about 2 months after, I did a performance at a concert, and that was it. I just loved it after that. And so I learned to play the guitar, because it was mainly my singing. I learned to play the guitar, and I played quite a bit before I came here. I came here when I was about 21. So.
And what were your musical influences? I noticed a lot of R&B in your vocals, and was there also a lot of jazz influence as well?
Yes. One of the bands I played with at first, this guy played a lot of standards and a lot of jazz tunes, and we had to be able to play. Even though you never knew much about the artist or the artist, they just pick these up, and then you had to be able to play quite a bit of that. And also, a lot of country was being played in the Caribbean, whether you people believe it or not. A lot of country music. Mm-hmm. So a lot of folks are still into that, some of that, especially the older folks.
True. And then you came to St. Croix, and it was actually after you had relocated here that you first started doing recordings, yes?
Yeah. It took a while. It took a long while before I really did start to record. I never recorded until about 1980. Because it was a financial issue, and I put my own money up, and did my first recording in Puerto Rico, Ochoa Studios. Mm-hmm. I had to pay, it was $100 an hour for the studio. I had to pay your money up front. book your time, pay your money up front, buy your musicians ticket, put them up, pay them, and all that expenses came from your pocket.
True, true.
Everything came from my pocket. So I did that, and it was successful.
And what were those were first initial recordings that you did?
Don't Change, Happy Song, Moving On, Woman Love a Friend.
And those were released as singles, yes?
Yeah, those were released as singles.
And eventually, I guess around 1983 was the first album that you had came out called Changes?
No, I had
Or Celebration Time?
Celebration Time.
Yes,
Celebration
yes.
Time came out about that time.
Yeah, and it seems your music is very, very well received here on the island.
I know. It seems to me, I'm surprised too, because I never thought that some of the younger folks would have picked it up, but they do. They have. You know, and like the other night at the show, I was surprised because you could see all these young people were even interested. I said, "Oh, this is really good. It makes you feel good."
Yes, yes. Well, one thing I can tell you is a good friend of mine who lives in the Bay Area, who also flew down to see Midnite perform because he really is enthralled with the music of your sons. And he came up to me in the middle of your set and he just hugged me and he was amazed because he said, you know, I live in Jamaica in the 80s and I used to love Ronnie Benjamin, and it wasn't until I heard him singing tonight that I realized Ronnie Benjamin is the father of Vaughn and Ron Benjamin of Midnite that he so appreciably loves.
Yeah, these are my sons, and I'm very proud of them. Very, very proud of them. Most times, like I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said, "You know what? Most times, the kids follow in the parents' footsteps." And basically, like it's a musical family. They just had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They had no choice. They had to do that. You know, and I'm very proud of them.
Yes, yes, and they've really making an impact on the world here today. But I really want to focus on the works that you've done through your career. So after the first album, Celebration Time, you released the next album, which was also on vinyl, called Changes.
Yeah, I did Changes, but before that, I went to the States for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a band. My band was called Impact.
Impact Band.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we went to the States minus the guitar player. Everybody else. We went to basically the band went before me, but we went to do some shows with the Mighty Sparrow,
Mm-hmm.
which is known basically all over the world. Calypso was Calypso artist.
Yeah.
We went to and work with a lot of West Indian artists too.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that for a while. Toured quite a bit in the States.
Yes, and I know that you've performed at many of the bigger venues in the States, Madison
Yeah.
Square Gardens, the Palladium in Hollywood, and
Mm-hmm.
near where I reside in Northern California at the Civic Center up
Yep.
in Marin County. Was
Yeah.
that in that same time period?
Yeah, in the same time period.
With the Mighty Sparrow
yeah,
as well.
we've been in Texas, Toronto, quite a bit in New York, DC, George Washington University, Philly. We've been up and down quite a bit, and but I got disgusted with the promoter, so I left because it's like people should be treated with some dignity, and that wasn't happening. And so I told him, "That's it. I'm not gonna stay in." You know.
And you actually formed your own production company, the
Yeah.
Sunburst. Is
Yeah,
that
Sunburst
correct?
Production Company.
And that's where virtually all your music comes off of.
Yeah, Sunburst Production.
And now it seems to be a little bit more popular in the technologically advanced age where people are breaking out on their own and doing independent recordings and releases on their own label. But what was it like back in the 80s trying to do that on your own?
Well, it was kind of hard because financing these things yourself and not going to the bank for any money. You're doing it from your pocket. So it was a bit at a time. We used reel tapes. Then you'd buy your tapes. You'd buy your mixing board and a few effects, and then you'd keep adding. You know, and as time goes along, you'd add a new piece of equipment. And it was kind of rough, but I got it to work, and I started doing my own stuff, and then it sounded good to some people, and so I started getting work from down island. I used to record like maybe about 3 albums a year.
Mm-hmm.
These guys would come down at carnival time, and then I would do recordings for them. And I recorded quite a bit of local people here too.
And most of the that's all right. We can always edit out. So that's what's great about these new technology.
Yeah.
Never a problem. And most of the recordings that you did for other artists, what style was it? Mostly calypso or?
Mostly calypso, some reggae.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly calypso. There was one guy here who I recorded in the 80s, about 86. And he did, that's just when the dub style music had just come in.
Mm-hmm.
What these guys are doing now.
Yes.
He did some of that stuff.
Do you recall who that artist was?
His name was Hippolyte, but I don't think he went too far. But he was good at what he did. Probably didn't pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still have his vinyl at home.
Mm. And when you lived here in St. Croix, what was the music like in the 80s? Because I know now that there's still a lot of calypso dominated on the airwaves here, but there seems to also be quite a big of influence of the reggae from Jamaica, and I'm wondering what that was like in the 80s, in the early 80s.
Well, in the 80s it was more, I would say, rhythm and blues.
Mm-hmm.
Some reggae, but not in those years. Bob Marley dominated. So if you were going to do, most of it was like that style of reggae, and the calypso. That was basically it, rhythm and blues. Because I did quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
I did quite a bit of that too.
And you have the first CD that you had released is called Reggae Fever, yes?
Reggae Fever.
And that was done in the early 90s?
91, I think.
Mm-hmm. And this was after you had relocated back to Antigua?
Yeah, but I started the recording here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it back to Antigua and finished it.
Okay, and you left St. Croix in 89.
89.
That was the year of Hugo. Is that what influenced you to
well,
forward?
that's why I left, because Ron and I, we had a 4-piece group,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked. We never did anything else but that. And after Hugo, everything was broken. There was no music to play. And I decided I wasn't going to go back into the construction. So I went down to Antigua, and there was an opportunity there. I played 7 nights a week, and the money was good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I stayed. That's the only reason why I left here.
And who were the other members in the band that you had with Ron?
Was Ron. I can't remember, Trevor, a guy named Malik. We called him Malik. It's
Mm-hmm.
Trevor. And Manasseh Williams. He lives in Connecticut now. He was the drummer, very
Mm-hmm.
good drummer. But he lives in Connecticut now.
And again, mostly R&B and calypso styles?
Yeah. And what actually happened, we usually played quite a bit of jazz too. Ron is an accomplished musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. And him and I would also do some solo work.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be playing bass with the left hand. I'm on the guitar. We use the drum machine, and two of us would work. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the music that you have on your albums and the popularity, because I know that walking through St. Croix and talking to various people, mentioning your name, and all the people, especially the women, would come out and start busting into a rhythm or a little chorus of a song. It seems like there's a lot of popularity of your music here.
Yes. I remember when I recorded Don't Change and got it on the radio here, and everything just went haywire, went crazy. Even as far up as St. Lucia, I got letters from people in St. Lucia, because we had a radio station in Montserrat
Mm-hmm.
called Radio Antilles, and that beamed out through the whole Caribbean. And so the music was coming out of Antigua, out of Montserrat, it's all over. Then the Reggae Fever album, basically the same thing. And on the Reggae Fever album, no, the Celebration Time, I remember having one of my songs. I don't know if I haven't got that. I could get it for you on wax and you could listen to it. But at the time, Lionel Richie had a song called All Night Long,
Yes.
which he said was calypso. So my Celebration Time was a form of calypso
Mm-hmm.
and reggae.
Mm.
The cymbals were playing calypso. The basic rhythm was like a reggae, and the bass was a little bit funky, And so I got a lot of coverage because there was a DJ here, especially he would play Lionel Richie's all night long, and he would play My Celebration Time right after that. You know, and I can't complain about the popularity. The songs were very, very popular. Everybody knew them, and I did a song, Can't Say Goodbye, Still in My Head, and I'd given it to Aisle 95. And it took a month because they just don't take your stuff and put it on the radio just like that. It took a month. Then they set it in regulation once a day, and they ended up playing 10 times a day. It was like number one for a very long time, you know, and it's been good. It's been good.
Yes, and after Reggae Fever, the next album or CD that you released was the Life is Like a Maze. Yes?
Yeah, Life is Like a Maze. I'm very sentimental about that too because I did everything on that. I did everything. I did all the programming of the drums. I remember a guy asking me, "Who's your drummer?" I said, "I haven't got a drummer." And who did your bass line? I said, "I did." You know, so I sat and I did everything. Wrote the songs, arranged, mixed, recorded, and didn't get too much because I did everything myself, and the promotion wasn't the way it should have been. You know, because after a lot of money goes into promotion. And so it didn't get the type of promotion that it should have, but I like it. Very sentimental about it.
True. And there's also a next CD that was released after that, which is basically a compilation of some of the songs that had been released on vinyl prior to CDs coming out, the early sounds of Ronnie Benjamin.
Yes, I did that. I put a compilation together because people kept asking, and I kept wondering why, but I have something new. Why you want the old songs? I said, well, we know those better. And so they wanted old, even on Sunday night, there's a girl, she came all the way from St. Thomas. I want that early sounds of Ronnie. I said, I don't have that. You know, but people always wanted those. So I did a compilation and got it out there on the market. And it sold okay.
And growing up as a child, you really worked with Ron closely to help guide him in his musical career?
Well, yes. I'm going to tell you a little thing about him. When I sent him to piano lessons, and I was here, because they were still there for a while. I went back, and the lady told me, he stopped coming to piano lessons. He only came for 9 months, and he's not coming anymore. So I asked him, I said, why you didn't go back? He said, well, I'm at a point now I want to know more, and she's not teaching me anymore. So I'm not going back. And so they came, I had my band, we practiced at home, you know, and so all the instruments were at his disposal. I never told him, well, this is what you're going to do and that what you're going to do. He chose whatever he wanted to do, and he played the keyboard, he played drums, and he played the guitar. But as a matter of fact, sometimes I remember one time coming home and wondering, what is Manasseh doing up there? Because Manasseh played with me on drums. What is Manasseh doing up there? That was him playing the drums. He was that good, you know. Yeah, but that was basically that. And then he went away to school for 2 years. He said he wanted to be a doctor. And then one day he pops up back here in San Croix and he says, I don't want to do that anymore. I said, well, what does your mother think? He said, well, this is what he's going to do because this is what he wants to do. And so I had my band at the time, and I got rid of my keyboard player. Until he came and took him with me, because that's my son, you know. And I taught him the ropes, showed him, and he's a guy, you only have to show him something once, and that's it. And sometimes you don't have to show him, you know. So basically, and my most thing, what I taught him really is to be disciplined, be well disciplined, and don't allow any slackness in his group, you know, and treat the thing as a business, because you have to, you know, it's a business, you have to treat it as a business.
Yes, well, it definitely shows that the trees don't fall far from the fruit, because you're a well-versatile musician doing various different pieces, and Ron is the same, and also extremely professional and well-disciplined, insisting on the highest standards wherever he travels and in the musical works as well.
Yeah, you have to set high standards and set high goals, and go for it, you know.
True, and at the start of 2000, you did your most recent album, The Second Chance, and that was recorded with your son, yes?
Yeah, that was recorded with my son. He did. I did some of the songs. Send them to him here, and I came, and we did the balance in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. Second Chance is actually his. He wrote that for me. He said, I have a song for you. And I said, can I hear it? And he played it for me. And sang it. He's a very good singer too, you know.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I know that indeed.
Yeah, he's a very good singer too.
Mm-hmm. And how were the, aside from The Second Chance that he wrote, how did the compositions on this album go? Did you come up with the melodies and then he would add behind that the music, or?
I came up with the melodies.
Mm-hmm.
I did the melodies. Most times, if I send him a song, it's already a bit structured, the melodies and the chords.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the last say, whatever he wants to change, as long as, because I know he's gonna be good. So whatever he wants to change, he can change. But most times, when I create, it's when I even just plain song, it's you have a chord structure and melodies and lyrics. Yeah.
Truly, can you give the people just a little bit of taste of the song, of one of the songs off of here?
It ain't easy living in a world like this. It ain't easy. Lord knows I must insist that it ain't easy living in a world of confusion. No, oh no, no, it ain't easy when they try to make your life so hard. It ain't easy. Ain't easy.
Truly, but we keep up the struggle every day.
Got to keep struggling. You can't relax. You got to keep going.
And actually, your sons have followed in your footsteps in many different respects. One of the areas in which they're carrying on their father's tradition is doing all their work independently on their own record label with money out of their own pockets.
Yeah.
And although I know things have really been a struggle both for you and for them as well, many years out on the road, it seems recently they seem to be reaping the fruits of the hard work and labors.
Well, the thing is that if you're willing to put, there will be some rewards. There will, whether it's monetary or whether you're feeling good about it. And I reached a point where it doesn't matter if I don't make a lot of money. I just feel good about what I do.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, and I'm happy for them. I'm glad for them that they're reaping the rewards. All I tell them is that make sure that they put it to good use. Buy some real estate.
Well, from what I see, it seems they're definitely putting their talents to good use, because I know Ron works with a lot of young artists, helping carry on the tradition, just like you helped school your son and guide him along his musical career. He too, in turn, is doing the same with the youths here on the island today, and that's good to see.
Yeah, and he's doing it without at his cost. He's doing it without basically any help from anyone. He's just doing it because he wants to do it. He has a good heart, you know. His heart came from a good place too.
Truly, yes, and that definitely shows through in the music as well.
It does.
You know, one thing that always strikes me is whenever Ron's on stage performing, it's nothing but pure smiles on there.
Well, that's the way it's been. Always been.
Yeah.
That's the way it's always been with us. We'll be working, and I remember one time we were playing at Carnival, and there was this group from the States, a jazz group, and they came in, and these guys just stood there, man. And they looked, and because it's like we were so happy up there, you know. And if you're not, to me, if you're not really comfortable and relaxed and feel happy with yourself, your audience won't feel it.
Yes.
Your audience won't feel it, you know. And I've learned that throughout the years. It's important. It's important to love what you do, enjoy what you do.
Yes.
It's not gonna work.
Absolutely, and like your son sing, you gotta love the life you live and lead the life you love.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what do you anticipate in the future for yourself musically?
Well, you never know. You never know. Things happen, and I'm not counting myself out yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still have some energy.
True.
And anything is possible. Ron is hinting that he wants me to come on the road with them. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. That'd be one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah, no, it'd definitely be great to see you out in California and do it again. Not with the Mighty Sparrow, but with the Mighty Midnite as well.
Exactly. That would be the, you know what I mean? And my other son, Vaughn, he was so thrilled because he's saying that not many people get to do this, be on stage with the father. And basically they're playing almost the same type of music I used to play, singing reggae. And he said the other night, he said, man, that was such fun for him because not many people get to do that. You know?
Yeah, no, truly a very special and memorable occasion.
It
to
is.
be able to do
It
that.
is. I'll always treasure that. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about Vaughn and what it was like raising him as a father.
Oh, Vaughn, he's a good guy. Well, basically, I never had any problem with both of them. I never had problem with my kids because I laid down the law and they followed it. They did things. My kids gonna do things. They're smart kids. Only now I'm hearing some of the things that they used to do. You know. But Vaughn is a very, very, very intelligent guy. Very smart. And Ronnie too, a highly intelligent guy.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, they remind me a lot of me is that my kids were, when I went to school, I never really had to cram. It just came. And I was an A student, and the same thing happened to them. They were, you know, and I think people expected Vaughn to be a lawyer too. And he just came, hook up with his brother. He was going to Rutgers. He just left that, came hook up with his brother. Because this is what he wanted to do. You understand? And this is exactly what he wants to do, and so I love them.
And I know that Ron was schooled at a young age in music, mostly playing the piano, yes?
Yeah. Vaughn never had any, but he does something natural.
Yes, yes.
And he writes well. As a matter of fact, I think he writes most of the stuff for Midnite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he writes well. You know, and it's not something that, he wasn't schooled in anything like that. He never had a music lesson in his life, which is remarkable, you know.
Yeah, well, obviously there are a lot of lessons that were picked up along the way, and I'm sure Vaughn was an avid reader, as he is still today.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
He does read a lot, and that's something that we share, because even when they were kids, they would go to the library, and everybody in the house would read the book. They would read it, I would read it, the mother would read it, everybody would read it. And I still read a lot. I remember I used to tell them things, and they said, Daddy, that's what you're saying. What are you saying? Why are you saying that? No, he's telling me things. You know? And so he's an avid reader. As a matter of fact, he gave me a book there that I have to read. And he has some that he wants to give me to take to some of his friends back in Antigua. But he's like that. He's an avid reader. He listens, he learns, and he does what he has to do.
Truly, truly. And you also have a daughter who's also musically inclined. She did some songs with Ron original recordings.
Well, I have two.
Yeah.
They're twin sisters.
And they both sing?
They're both. The one daughter, she lives in Florida, and she was more into a lot of like jazz, but she also would do anything. And basically it's the same thing because they started in the church. They had to go to church every Sunday, and very, very well. These kids had a quartet, a 4-piece, and I would practice with them. I would take the guitar and I would practice 4 parts with them. And you don't want to hear them. You don't want to hear them. I mean, I remember the first time they came to the Virgin Islands, there was, I think, I don't know if it was a competition or a concert, and they were singing against older folks. And they were so good. People could not believe that. Them little kids, how they sing like that? It's just natural. It's a natural thing, you know. So basically, as you would call it, a singing family, a musical family.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And having been away from Antigua for a long time, can you tell us a little bit about the changes that you observe now that you've returned here? I'm sorry, having been away from St. Croix for quite a while. Can you tell us a little bit about how things have changed since you've left?
Well, what I've noticed most of the island is not as lively as I left it. And I don't know what the reason for that is, but there's one change that I love. I've seen is the Frederiksted waterfront. I've been, Frederickstead is where I lived. And I've been down there to look at the waterfront. I have to go back and get some pictures. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Christiansted looks a little dead to me. And I don't know if there's many clubs and stuff like that for people to play. I'm not seeing, maybe I haven't been here long enough, but I haven't seen some of the things that I left here. You know, the island still looks good. Still looks good.
But the impact of Hurricane Hugo on this island was tremendous, yes?
And and I think they had but Hugo was the worst. He devastated badly. He was bad. In the morning when you woke up, like, you knew a house was there. You knew a house was there. And there was no green on the island. It was like a fire had passed through the island. You know? And they have done well to recover to an extent. They have recovered some, but I think the impact of Hugo is being felt up to now. I don't know if anybody is thinking that, but I'm thinking that it's being felt up to now. You know? I passed through Christiansted, I'm amazed because that's not the Christiansted I knew. It's not as vibrant as I knew it. You know, I haven't been too much on the west side, and I haven't been in the like places like Grove Place and places like that, but it's not as lively as I left it.
Yeah, well, it seems the Caribbean is having hard times after 9/11. The tourism industry seems to be suffering quite a bit.
It to an extent, but I don't think Antigua can complain. No,
Antigua is is one of the areas that continue to thrive.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're having like 8 cruise ships, 11,000 people, and the hotels are full. And they have a lot of hotel rooms. What I think St. Croix needs, I don't know, maybe they need more hotel rooms, you know, and more flights in. And I think that's basically it because they have a lot of hotels in Antigua and they're still building more.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I know that St. Thomas seems to be thriving much more so than St. Croix with the tourism, especially the boats coming in.
Well, it's always been, you know, but I think there's a bias there.
How so?
To me, St. Thomas is the capital, and so everything goes to St. Thomas. It's always been that we always suffer. St. Thomas always gets almost everything first, and then what is left coming to St. Croix.
True.
Yeah.
Also, it seems St. Croix has a little bit of a rebel vibe that flows through it that seems to have a history to it.
Well, I kind of guess so, but sometimes you just have to stand up.
True, indeed.
You know, sometimes you have to stand up, but I guess you're gonna find these things here and there. You know.
All right, well, we'll let you move forward. Is there any words you'd like to leave with the people before we part?
Well, what I can tell the people is I'm back, look out for me. And I'm hoping that everything works good for everybody all over the world. There will be peace, because war is not good. You know, and as a matter of fact, I don't even watch war movies anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's important for peace, and I hope that things work good for everyone. You know. And people will try to move on, be positive in whatever they do, you know, and head for higher heights. You have to basically have a dream and try to live it. You've got to. You know, nothing works just like you have to have a vision of where you're going, what you want to do. If not, you will never achieve anything. You know, nothing to me is haphazard. It cannot come haphazardly.
Yeah, you have to have that vision, and then you gotta work at it every day and move forward to get that done.
You have to get up and decide, this is what I'm going to do. And it might take time. It might take time. You know, like a lot of people want to get rich quick, and there's no such thing. You either might inherit it or you get lucky, but for most people, you have to put 1 penny at a time, and it adds up. And a lot of people don't understand that you have to put 1 foot forward and the other foot, and it keeps adding, because that's the way it works.
It's a long distance journey that we're on here.
Exactly. And you'll achieve your goal once you keep going, and you can look back and say, here, I came from here to here.
Truly.
And basically, people who do that most times appreciate it more. You know, they appreciate it more.
Absolutely. Well, we give thanks for all your works throughout the years and your vision in the music and keeping dedicated to it and working hard all these years, putting out such good music for the people that they can listen to and make them feel good and hopefully uplift their spirits.
I do hope I have more. Well, I not hope. I know I have more. I still have more to offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we're certainly looking forward to that as well. And hopefully we'll get you back out and into the States and touring so that we can expose both you and your sons to the music that's so strong and vibrant here in the Caribbean.
I'm hoping for that too. Looking
right.
forward to it.
Truly. All right, respect. Give thanks.
Thanks.
Woo!